to the end user. Okay. Using a bits, you should be able to create a report, and that report will be pushed to the report server. When you push it to the report server, then as a DBA or as an admin, I have to again push it to the end user mailbox, or I have to push it to the a shared folder in the organization where people can come to a shared folder and they can pick up the report which they need. Okay, so subscriptions are completely meant for the delivering the report to end users. Okay, creation is one part, management another part, third part of the SSRS in the SSRS life cycle is report delivery. Report delivery will be taken care by the creating subscriptions. Okay, subscriptions can be created in only report manager. You have to be very clear on it. Okay, you cannot create in bits. You have to go to report manager and create a subscriptions. We have push and pull subscriptions. So pushing means you have to push a report to the end user. For example, pushing through email. Pushing through email can be, okay, you can have, so anybody can easily push a report. Okay, so subscriptions, you have two types of subscriptions. What are they? One is push, then you have pull subscriptions. Push means you can easily, send this report through email. Send this report to a shared folder. Okay, these two are examples for pushing the report. Shared folder in your organization. Okay, the pulling means you'll make it, online. Anybody can come to online. They can go to HTTP server name / report server. They can just online go to online. They can pull the report they need. Okay, we have two kinds of subscriptions: pushing and pulling. Pushing means you have to push the each report through. You can push it to a shared folder, so people can come to shared folder, then they can pick up the report which they need. Okay, these two you can do it. Okay, but when you create a report or when you create a subscription, you need some information that has to be collected by you. So that is known as subscription details. Subscription details, you need to have it. Have to be collecting. So what are the reports? What are the subscriptions? What report I have to send it to the end user? This is the first option you need to check. Okay, what is that end user needs and what report? You may be having 1,000 reports, but all end users does not need those 1,000 reports. They need only a report number 5, or report number 10, or report number 3, or report number 3 and 5. Like that, what report they need, that's what you need to check. So this is a subscription detail. Then who needs the report? That means what we're talking about, which user we're talking about. Okay, the user 1, user 2. Here we're talking about which report. We're talking about report here. Here we're talking about who's the user who needs the report. Bhaskar may be there, Sunila may be there, Yeshwari may be there, Raghu may be there, Ranga may be there, but all of them do not need all the reports at the same time. Okay, so Bhaskar needs a report number 3. But some other person needs a report number 2. So you may be having 1,000 reports collection there. Okay, the first thing is that what report they need or which report they need. The second is who needs the end user, who's that they need the report. The third one is when they need the report. When the report, okay, need the report. That means what? Here we talking about the timings or the schedules. Okay, time or nothing but a schedule we're talking about. So when do they need the report? Do they need report every 5 minutes, every 10 minutes, every 1 hour, every weekly, or only on Sundays, or quarterly, yearly, monthly? We're talking about some kind of timelines, or the schedules to send the report to the end user. Okay, so which report we discussed and who needs the report we discussed. when they need the report, that is also very, very important. Now, how they need it, how the report need to be delivered, how in the sense do we need to send through email or do we need to send through shared folder or do we need to make it online? So how is that they need the report? This is also one more option you need to think about. How the report need to be delivered. So which report, who needs the report, when they need the report, okay, how they need the report. This is also you have to understand. Email, shared folder, all of them. And the next one, which format they need the report. Okay, which format they need the report. The format can be, I need the report in Excel sheet. I need the report in PDF format. I need the report in, say, JPEG. Like that, you may have any kind of formats you can say. In that format, you should be able to deliver the reports. Okay. So once you're ready with these things, then you should be able to create a report. So you should be able to subscribe the report, and so that for given report, for given end users, you can schedule it so that the report can be delivered via email or through the shared folder, or simply make it online. Make it online already we know. Simply you deploy it, so it will be made online. So for make it online, for making online is not a big thing for us. Already we discussed. But remaining things we have to create subscriptions. Okay. So today we'll do this. Okay. So why subscriptions? Subscriptions are used to user. Subscriptions, we have two kinds of subscriptions, pushing and pulling. And subscription details we have to collect prior to the creating subscriptions. So which report end user needs it? Who is the end user who needs the report, and when do they need the report? So we're talking about time, and how they need the report, through email or shared folder, or which format they need the report. So once you're ready with this data, then we can start creating subscriptions. Okay. So let us understand what are the steps we have to take to create subscriptions. Now, subscriptions, the steps are, these points already we discussed. Okay, these are used to deliver the reports, and all of them we discussed. Which report, who needs the report, when they need the report, how they need the report, okay, which format they need the report, all of them we already discussed. Okay, next point would be steps to create a subscription. Create user in Windows with admin access. Okay, so the username could be SSRS admin. So you can give any name. You can give, instead of SSRS admin, you can say Sunila, Bhaskar, Ranga, anything. It is need not be a SSRS but admin. Okay, you can give any user that you have to create in Windows. That is the first step. Step number 2 is add the above user in SQL Server and provide server roles admin access in SQL Server also. One would be this user we're talking about. This user, you need to provide some permissions in Go to Report Manager and create subscriptions using this one. Okay. Number 3, go to Report Manager and create subscription. This, we'll do it later. The step number 1 would be create a user in Windows with admin access. So I'll show you how to create a user in Windows. Okay. Because to run subscriptions, you need to have a user with proper privileges, because he is the user, he is taking care of all the subscriptions and all. So in production environments, you will be having a specialized users, okay, who will be running each service. So here the subscription is a service which will be running under a user. Okay, that user must have a Windows privileges and with admin access. The step number 1, I'll show you how to create a user in Windows. So go to my computer, right click, manage. So what I am doing here, create user in Windows with admin access. That is what I'm going to do now. So go to start. So go to my computer. So manage. To create a user. So this is the So go to local users and groups. Now we have users, we have groups. Okay. So let me go to users, right click on it. So new user. So I'm creating a user called SSRS. Give only this. Can I give XYZ here? The answer is yes. You can give XYZ, Sunila, Bhaskar, Kiran, Ranga, anything you can give. There is no issue. Okay. So password I am giving test123. You can give any password. There is no issue. Password you can give anything. Then uncheck user must change password at next login. So we'll uncheck this. That's it. And click create. Okay. So I have created a user and close this window. The user is available here. Okay. The user is SSRS admin. The step number 1 is done. What is the step number 1? So I'm able to create a user in Windows, but I did not provide an admin access. For to providing admin access, we have to provide the following steps. Okay. Now I have created a user here. Now the next step would be provide admin access. To provide admin access, double click on groups. Okay. And click on groups. Double click on administrators. You need to add SSRS admin into this group. So click on add and type SSRS admin. Check names. Now it is available. Click OK. Now what happened? Inside the administrators group, you have SSRS admin. Now SSRS admin is part of an administrator. That means you have given admin access to this guy. So you have SSRS admin. Now this SSRS admin is mapped or which is which is there in a group called administrator group. So this guy is a now Windows administrator. So he has full permissions in Windows. That's what we have to understand. Click OK and click close. Now the step number 1 is done within 2 seconds. Create a user and provide admin access. Over. Now add the above user. Add the above user in SQL Server. Okay. So you want me to repeat the first step? Very simple. Go to SSRS admin, go to my computer and go to manage. Now go to local shade and groups users. You can create whatever be the user here and provide XYZ. Give some password here, give some password, remove this and create. Over. So once you do this, then go to groups, then double click on administrators, then add that user here. Add, you give that name, whatever the name you have typed. I have typed SSRS admin. That you have to type it, check names and click OK. That's it. Already there. So that is a step you have to follow. Then click OK. Okay. So this is how you need to create a user with admin privileges. Okay. Now step number 2 is add the above user in SQL Server and provide server role cell admin access. So now to create subscriptions, add this user to the SQL Server. So go to SSMS to SQL Server now. Now, once you open SQL Server, here you have a security tab. Inside the security tab, you can create user IDs. So click connect. Now you should be able to see a security tab below databases. So you have databases. Already we have reporting services, all of them. Then you have a security. You can just expand security. You can create a new login here. Already you will be having few logins here. Kedar, Bhaskar. All of them are SQL Server logins. Now I wanted to have SSRS admin into this group. So right click on logins, new login, and login. Let me search. So here I am providing SSRS. Click names. Click OK. Now Since SSRS admin I have created in my Kedar is my system name, and I'm using Windows authentication. Okay. Windows authentication means what? Whatever users we have created in Windows, those are available to the SQL Server only. Okay. Windows authentication means the user ID passwords which have been created inside the Windows, those are directly available to SQL Server, and you can have this Windows authentication. Okay, you need to have Windows authentication, and this is the one you have to do. So I'm showing the same thing once again. Then us canceling it. So right click on logins, new login, and type SSRS admin. Any case is okay. Check names. So you got that user, and choose Windows authentication. Okay. So you have created this user. So I am created this user. This user is now available. Now to this user, you provide some admin access. So what is that? Add the above user in SQL Server over. Next, provide server roles admin access I have to provide. So let me provide admin access to this guy. So to provide admin access, double click on SSRS admin. You will get the same window. Now you have few things to understand. You have a server roles. Click here. You provide, public by default, every user will be having. You cannot remove this. Try to understand. Many people try to delete this or remove this. Don't do that. So SQL Server by default will give you one role, that is public role. Now I am giving a system admin role. What do you mean by system admin role? The SSRS admin is a SQL DBA now. This guy can perform all the tasks inside the SQL Server. He is a SQL Server DBA. So SQL Server DBAs must be given this permission. Okay. Now this is also I have given. Okay. The step number 2 is also I have given. So in SQL Server, provide the server roles admin access. How did I do that? You go back, double click on that, and go to server roles and check this option. That's it. This option you need to check and click OK. That's it. Okay. This option is also over. One more option we have to give is, this guy has to have a permissions on report server temp DB and report server DB and report server temp DB. Okay, they have given this name as a temp. This is not a temp. This is actually a temp DB. This is report server DB actually. They had renamed the name. So don't confuse with this. So this is actually report server DB. This is report server temp DB. Okay. Now, and whatever be the source database. For example, your report is using this database. Now in this database, this user must have a permission. Okay. Now, this user need to have permission on this. This user must have permission on this. This user must have permission on this. Okay. We have to provide a authorizations. All of them are called authorizations. So I am providing permissions to this to this user. Okay. So how do you provide? Double click on it. Now server roles already we made it. And now click on user mappings. So report will use a Indian bank. So if it is using Indian bank, provide this. Otherwise, if it is using some other database like AdventureWorks, you use that. So I'm providing Indian bank. Say click DB owner. Click OK. So what is that? This guy has a DB database owner for this Indian bank database. Okay, so that he can have complete permissions on this database. Okay, and you need to provide to this guy and full permissions on this. So how do you provide? Double click on it. Also no, click on user mapping and create report server. So they have given temp. So don't think this is a temp. This is report server DB actually. And here also you have to provide DB own permissions. Click OK. So this is also over. Then here also you need to provide permissions. So double click on here and go to user mappings and now check this and check DB owner. Like that, if you want to provide for any other database, always you double click on here and go to user mapping, choose some other database. For example, you would like to give it to this one also, choose this and say DB owner. Like that we can perform. Okay, but we are not using the fourth option. So let me delete that. So So this is what you have to. So now I have created a user with Windows and added in SQL Server, provide admin access. And one more thing I have done is this user has, permissions on bank database, report server database, report server TempDB database. So that is also I have given. The next step would be go to report manager and create a subscriptions. To do that, open IE in admin mode. So I'm opening IE, right click on Internet Explorer. Right click on Internet Explorer, run as administrator mode. Yes, here what I'll do is HTTP name, that is localhost, reports. Reports is the manager. Okay. So I'm just opening this. Time to open up the manager. Now that is step number 3. Localhost/reports. Okay. So I think it will take some more time to open it up. So let us wait. So I think you understood the steps we have done. So create user in Windows with admin privileges and add the above user in SQL Server and provided admin access and provided DB owner permissions on bank. Why bank we have taken? Because in my report I'm going to use a data source as a bank. Okay, if you are using data source as a AdventureWorks, we have to choose AdventureWorks as a DB owner. Okay, and after that I have opened IE in admin mode. I'm connecting to localhost/reports. Okay, then open data source folder report manager. So all these things need to be done later, but at least let us see whether the reports manager is we're able to open or not. Okay, go open IE. Now I think it is taking lots of time to open up. We don't know whether it is opening or not. So yes, it is opened. So this is your report manager. Okay, so this is how it looks like. I told you report builder will be available to create ad hoc reports. You can upload straight away .rdl file. If you have an RDL file, copy it in the pen drive. Simply click on upload. Then you will get another window. Just straight away you upload all RDL, RDS, all of the file can be uploaded. Okay, so this is also one kind of deploy a report. So once you upload it will get deployed. Okay. Now, so now this is a report manager. But what we do is uh, we are ready with the prerequisites. Now we'll create a and let us subscribe. Okay. So I am opening a SQL Server business intelligence. So now let me create a new report and deploy it. A new report, go to Solution Explorer. Let me take a new project itself. File, new project. Choose the report server project. And so let me say batch, okay, SSRS deployment. This is my project name. Okay, online batch SSRS deployment. So this is available in SSRS folder. Click OK. So I'm creating a new project. Online batch SSRS deployment. Okay, so choose this. Have in Solution Explorer, you have online batch SSRS. Now you can create a new report if you want. Okay, now right click, add new report. Now you can create a new report if you want to choose report. So we'll say sales report or report number 1, whatever it is. You can simply create a sales report. Now this is a blank report which we can create. Now there are few prerequisites to create a subscription. So what are those? Let us understand. Prerequisites for subscriptions is must create shared data source and shared data set. Till today we did not discuss about shared data set and shared data source. We are always used only embedded data source and embedded data set, and must have Windows user with admin access. This we have done. Second step is done. Third step, the above user must have admin access in SQL Server, and Windows user done, SQL Server user done, report server DB owner given, report server temp DB owner given, bank DB owner we have also given. The second and third got over. The first, create shared data source and data set. Let us understand what is this concept of shared and embedded data sets. So these options we never used it, but today we're going to use it. Always we never touched these options. So let me open Paint and explain what is a shared data set and a shared data source. For example, data source. So let me take a data source. Data source can be a, what do you mean by data source? Data source means a server name plus DB name, right? Server name plus DB name is nothing but your data source. We have created a data source. The data source has a server name and the DB name. And so you have a report 1, report 2, report 3. You have created many reports. Okay. Now let me take a report. You may have report 1, report 2, like that. One report. If you have a report, now if source you have created, the one data source that is utilized many reports. About one data source I have created, I have say 1,000 reports. Inside, each and every report, I am using the same data source. I am using what? The same server name, same database name. So if this is the case, don't go in for the embedded. So it doesn't make any sense, because every time you go to click connect server name, bank database, that's what we had done. But the best practice would be you create a data source. So one data source being used in many reports, then this data source is called as a, then this data source would be called as a shared data source. This is called as shared data source. Okay. So if you want to share the data source across the reports, then you have to create the data source here. Right click, then add new data source, so that this data source is available to this report, and you can also create another report. Say I'm creating report number 1. Okay, so this can be used here, and you can also create one more report. Okay, so report number 2, and you can also, that means all these reports can use this data source only, because all the reports need to be developed only on the bank database. So you have to create only one, that is a shared data source. Clear? Now, one report, I may use bank, another report I may use adventure works, another report I may use school, I may use some DB1, test DB1, like that. So that means what? One data source is, used in only one report. If only one data source, one report, another report will use another data source, another report will use another data source. If this is the thing, then this kind of thing is called, what? And this is known as a embedded data source. Embedded. What do you mean by embedded? So each report will have a different data source. Embedded data means what? So report number 1 will use different data source. Report number 2 will use different data source. Report number 3 will use different data source. So this will use a different, data source, like that. So every report will have a different data sources. If that is the case, so definitely you can have. So simply if I say 1 to 1, simply known as what, which is a embedded data source, and one to many. What do you mean by one to many? One data source is being used in many reports. This is simply known as a what is that? Shared data source. Okay, how do you create a shared data source? Shared data source we can create in this. Okay, the same story with the same data set also. What is a data set? Data set is nothing but a query. So now if you go back, a query, a data set I'm creating. So this is my, say, a data set. And this data set means nothing but what? Query. Query is SP, whatever it is. A query I'm creating. That query, you are using the same query in many reports. Okay, let me take this. This is your report. Okay, so I'm using the report. The same query you're using in all the, it is one to one. So that means one query is used in only one report, that is, embedded. If it is the same query you're using in many reports. Okay, then many means it could be 1, 2, 3, 4, many, no number. If it is 1 to m, it will become, shared data source. It will become what? Shared data source, otherwise embedded data source. Okay. Also shared data set. When shared, one to many. What do you mean by one to many? One query is being used in many reports. Okay. Then you can also have embedded set. What do you mean by this? One to one. Like that you can understand. So one to one means you will have a one query will have only in this report. Okay. So if this is the case, you can go in for different data sets, and if that is the case, those are called a embedded. Otherwise, these are called, is clear? So you may have shared data set, you may have embedded. For example, if I want to use a sales report here, I am created a data query. The query I have to use it here. I'll show a pie chart. The same query I put it here, I'll show in the gauge control. Same query I am using it here. I may have something else there. The same query, if you're using many times, instead of going for embedded, go in for the shared. So that is what you have to understand. Okay, to create subscriptions, the prerequisite would be to have must create shared data source and shared data set. Okay, so I'm going to go back to bits on shared data source, add data source. Okay, my data source name is my bank data SRC. Okay, SQL Server, click on edit. The old stories only you can see. Click bank test connection. Now this is created and click OK. This can be used in this and in this and in this if you want. Let me also create a data set. So add new data set. A shared set. Okay. Now the query, my query, I'm going to use this is, so let me go back to bank. Let me write the query in this simple query, select star called a master. So dragging and dropping this table. So remove DBO. With DBO also it works. So F5 executing. Okay. So I'm taking this query, Control A, Control C, just copied it and pasted it. Okay. So this is working fine. A simple query I have taken. Now that's it. So created two things. Now I'm also created a new report. Now in this report, let me go to a report data. Now as usual, go to data source, add data source, my local data SRC. Now we were using embedded connection, but you have to use shared data source reference. Now you have to go for my bank shared data source. This is the difference. We were using this one. Now you have to use this. Click OK. Okay. Now you can see my local data source is not actually a data source, which is referring to this data source. Please remember this. If you double click on it, you will come to know. If you double click on it, you can come to this. Okay. This is actually this. Okay. Now this is also done. Right click a data set, add data set. Use data set shared now. Before we were using this, but we have to use this. This is a local data. Okay. My local data set. Then use. I'm going to use this data set. Shared data set which is there. Just choose this and click OK. Okay. Now from here, I'm able to get all the columns. Now I did not, give any query here. Now simply you drag and drop it. Go to toolbox. Simply have a simple table and have ID, then name, and say some BRA. Okay. Now you just reduce the space. I told you need to reduce the cut the whatever you don't need. Clear the background if you want to, then bold it. That's it. So the report is ready for you. I have created embedded. I did not use embedded. Okay, I have used shared one. So subscriptions needs this. Now what I'll do, I'll format few things. Okay, central alignment. This is user requirement, not the subscription requirement. So it's working fine. So my stuff is done. Go back to design, go to solution explorer, right click on this A properties. What are the properties we have to provide? Target server URL, local host, and user URL, report server. So no spelling mistake. Make sure everything is perfect. Let me open a notepad with big font and copy paste. Yeah, HTTP localhost report server, perfect. Okay. Now target folder, target report folder. You may give any name. Otherwise, the project name will be there. I'm using say Axis Bank. So you can say some bank, Axis Bank or something. Now I have used this bank, or you can give any name. So this is optional. This is optional. Only target server URL need to be given, but not the folder. But you can create a folder. Click apply and OK. Then right click build. Right click deploy. Started. Let us wait. So this this is a known issue. What was the issue? Permission. So close this. Close this. Open bits in administrator mode to resolve the problem. Right click, run as administrator mode. Go to your project. Okay. Come down. This is your report. Now make sure everything is perfect. Right click, just go to properties. Everything you have. So don't worry. Click OK. So now again, once again, you build it. Build succeeded. You can see in this corner. Build succeeded. Okay. Now you right click deploy. So deploy started in this corner. You can just have a look. So it is going to deploy. Okay. Perfect. Deploy succeeded. See this message. success message. Okay. Now once you over, you can straight away close this. You don't need bits anymore. Now you can go back to your report manager and refresh this. I'm just refreshing it. I got a Access Bank here. In this Access Bank, I have a report 1 is blank, report 1, 2 is blank. I have created this sales report. Now this is what it got deployed. Now this is the report which is perfectly working fine. And go home, and here you have a folder called data source and data set. We have a shared data sources which you have shared. Okay, and data sets will have data sets which you have created. Okay, this is the my shared data set will be there. Go back. In data source folder, you will have your data, shared data, source details. In the Access Bank, you will have actual reports. Okay, go back. Now you go to step number 3. What is step number 3? Go back. Open data source folder in report manager and report manager's home, and then open required data source. Go to my shared bank data source, which is created in the previous project in bits. Going to go back to report manager, click on data sources. Now here, click on my bank data source, shared data source. Here, choose securely in the report server. What are they? SSRS. Okay, this is what we had given. And password, what is the password? Test123 password. And check use as Windows credentials when connecting to data source. Test connection. Test connection created successfully. Okay, click apply. Now I have applied the perfect. Then click on again home. So let me repeat the step. You go to data source, down choose this provide SSRS admin, provide password, and use this option and test connection, click apply. That's it. After that, now once you do that, the next step would be having a subscriptions. Okay. Now go to Access Bank, go to report. This is your report. Now in this corner, you will have what is known as a subscribe. So in this, you need to have a subscribe. So subscribe means you can create a subscriptions. So I'm clicking on subscriptions. So specify options. How do you want to provide? Windows files here. I don't have email because I did not configure my server for the sending emails. If you configure only, you will get that option. Sending a email, options, subscription options delivered by an email. If you configure it, you will get it. Otherwise, you don't get it. Okay. Where you have to configure, go to all programs and configuration tools and report server configuration manager. Okay. Now here we had seen this, okay. Now if you come email settings here, if you provide a sender address is jogi@gmail.com, then the SMTP server. So I think smtp.gmail.com. Okay. If you apply this setting, then you will get one more option there. Okay, apply settings, click exit, successfully over. Then you should be able to get. So we'll go back to again home. Okay. We'll go back to home. It is taking some time because I have changed some configurations to open it up. Okay. Now delivered by, you will get that. So let me again go back and come back so that you should be able to refresh once again, refresh, so that go to access band, your report, and right click subscribe. Right click. Right. Now delivered by, see, I have two options. Email option I have got. Now I have Windows file share. Previously, I did not have this option. Now I have got this one also. But email we cannot do. But let us use Windows file share only. Okay. So I have used Windows file share. File name, sales report, add a file extension. Path, where do you want to deliver? Because I am planning to push to a shared folder. So that folder will give it later. So render format is PDF. Used. What are the credentials I'm going to use? SSRS admin. Password. Test. 3. Overwrite an existing file. Do not overwrite. Increment file name. So let us increment the file name. Otherwise, it will go to that folder and increment it. We need to get the path. So this will fill it later. And you can have a select a schedule. What do you mean by schedule? So every day 5 o'clock, I have to create a report and keep it in the shared folder. Okay. Or every 2 minutes, I have to have a report. Or every 5 minutes, I need to create a report and keep it in the shared folder. So for that, you need to have a schedule. What is the prerequisite? In SQL Server, there is a agent, SQL Server agent is actual guy who is going to run the schedules. Now make sure that this guy is running. So right click, start. So click yes. Okay. Are you sure you want to start SQL Server Agent service on Kedar? Yes. As if you want to schedule anything, this is the guy who is going to schedule it. So make sure that this guy is working fine. So now it came to started mode. Now this guy always need to run to start schedules. So go back to your IE and now you can give schedule. Select schedule, daily, weekly, monthly ones. So let us click on R basis. So let us give only every 2 minutes we need a report because we cannot wait for hours. Start time. Now what is 7:35 a.m. So let me give 7 o'clock. Let it start. Okay. Don't use wrong time when you want to start. So 7 o'clock it is going to start now. Every 2 minutes it will give a report. Simply click on OK. So schedules also ready. Now Now I have done it. Schedule is also over. Now only one thing left is the path. Shared path I need to give. Now I am creating a shared path. Go to Windows, go to my computer. Okay. Go to D drive. Here, let me create a new folder. So new folder say online SSRS reports. Okay. Online SSRS reports. Then I need to share it. Right click on this and share with a specific people. Go here and SSRS admin add and go here add and everyone provide read and write permission. SSRS admin provide read and write permission. Click share. This may take few minutes to share and this is the path you need to provide. What is the path? So you can email someone links to this shared folder or copy //Kedar/online SSRS or you can just copy it. So I'm just copying it and go to this one. So whatever I have copied, the path I'm going to give it. So this is the path. So this will give you a wrong path actually. You need to provide a this kind of things. Okay. So this is the one you need to provide. Remove the bracket. So this is the path you have to take it. //Kedar. What is the Kedar? Kedar is my system name. So //Kedar online SSR reports. Control C is done. Click done. Then let me close this. You paste. Okay, so Kedar online reports. This is here you will have the reports. Click OK. The password is empty. Sorry. So I'll go back here. What is the password? Test 123. Okay. Click OK. Now the subscriptions are ready. Where do you see your subscriptions? Go to my subscription. Now this is the subscription you have created. Now this is a timed subscription. What do you mean by that? Every 2 minutes, this will have, it will create a report and that report will be delivered to the shared folder. Let me go back here and see where is my folder. So this is the folder. Now you watch, you need to get every 2 minutes a sales report here. Okay, so let us watch whether we going to get it or not. If everything is fine, you should be able to get it. Have to see why it's not happening. Okay, just refresh, keep on refreshing it, F5 or press enter to refresh. So every 2 minutes you should be able to get the report. This is how we can create a SSRS report. So I have used PDF format. Where do you find your reports? You can find your reports. You can find your this one in my subscriptions. Okay. So let me go here. Come here. I think we have given every 2 minutes. I have to wait one more minute. 7:39, 7:40. You should be able to get a report if it is working fine. Okay. Make sure that SQL Server agent is working. If it does not work, then schedules will not happen. Please make sure that right click always, it has to be in start mode. Okay. To be very clear on it. Go here and let us open online SSRS reports. You should be able to get the report if it is working fine. Okay. Then we have to see why it's not working. Okay. This is how you can create this one. But if we have email options, we will have to whom you need to send. You need to provide the email address and subject, then the message, all of them you need to provide, and you have to keep. Okay. Why it's not working? So let us wait. Let us go back to has been saved together file share. I think it has given created. Okay. Now let me go back. Yes, I got a sales report here. See the report. Now this will be in the shared folder. Customers can come straight away come to the shared folder in your organization. They can get the report. Okay. Now 102 I have Akarshan. Now if I change this name to somebody else, then let us see whether we'll get the new data or old data. Okay. So now you will get every 2 minutes one more reports. Before that, let me go back and have this data. Update this data. Update master set equals to, say we can have Neela here. Here, where AC ID equals to 102. Where AC ID equals to 102. Okay, now you have the records got updated in original database. Now we have Sunila. Let us see whether you get Sunila or Akarshan there, because reports always has to take the fresh data, not the old data. Now in old data we have Akarshan, but let us see in the fresh data Akarshan. Okay. Now whether subscriptions are working perfect or not, you have to always visit your my subscriptions. Okay. Now the file says this is also shared and everything is working fine. You can just go back and go. You got the second report, and here we need to have Sunila. Okay. Now that means always reports will have live data or the fresh data. That's what we need to understand. Is clear? So like that you can create many number of reports and this can be delivered every monthly, every week. For each and every report, you need to have subscriptions. So I have created a subscription for this report. If you have 1,000 reports, so manually you have to create subscriptions. Okay, so make sure that you can have many shared folders. You can have many subscriptions. So like that, you should be able to create reports, and you have to get the subscriptions here. You may choose PDF, you may choose Excel, you may choose anything, but you should be able to do that. Okay. So this completes a yes. Status means it shows failure success. Okay, that's what it will show you. If you want to drop something tomorrow, I don't need this, so you just click here and delete. So what happens now? Delete it. No, you need to follow the same step to create it. Okay, you can delete by coming to my subscriptions. Go to click on my subscriptions. If you don't need, so okay, so I'll stop this because otherwise my D drive will get full within 1 day. So what I do is I go here and delete the subscription. Okay, are you sure? Yes. Okay, so where is that? Yeah, the video. Okay, so everybody has to practice. This is a my subscriptions. You can create very simple things. We need to do it. So let me explain you briefly what all we have done. You have created a user in Windows, provided SSRS admin access to SSRS, and add this user in SQL Server and provide DB owner permissions to data source bank, report server, and report server temp DB. And next one, you have created a new project with the shared data set and source and created a simple report and build and deployed the report. Then after that, you went to report manager and open shared bank data source, add SSRS admin to this and click the apply. Then after that, you open the report which you want to subscribe and go there, and you have to right click, subscribe, and follow the steps. That's it. Make sure that the SQL Server agent is running smoothly. If that is not running smoothly, then this will not be on. Okay. When you restart the system, this will be again off. So if you want to make it, permanent on, that means you need to go to services. See lots of services inside your Windows. Now this is your services window. Click on SQL Server. You have SQL Server somewhere here. Okay. Now SQL Server agent, right click on it. Startups type is manual. What do you mean by manual? When you shut down, when you shut down, this service will be off. Again, you have to manually right click and start it. But when you make it, automatic, restart the Windows, when you restart the laptop or the desktop, automatically this service also will get, started. But if you make it, off, if you make it manual means what? If you restart Windows now, this service will be off. You have to go to SQL Server and right click and manually you need to start it. So instead of doing this, if you want to make it automatic, go to services.msc, double click on SQL Server agent, automatic. If you want to run automatically when you restart this, click apply, click OK. Okay. And SQL Server also will be having a service, and this is automatic. What do you mean by automatic? When you restart Windows, automatically SQL Server service would be on. Okay. All you have to know. And this will be an off state. You will get different kinds of issues. For example, now normally what happens is I told you many times, and again I'm showing. I'm just closing everything. To SQL Server agent, so I'm stopping it here. Okay, so automatically this is also will be stopped. So I'm stopping SQL Server here, but nobody knows about that SQL Server has stopped. So click OK. I've stopped SQL Server. Double click on it, so it is stopped. Now click OK. You click this window. Nobody knows that SQL Server is stopped. You try to connect to SQL Server. You go here and try to connect. So here is the place SQL Server will give you an error. Okay, you click on connect. It never gets connected because the service itself is not running. It'll wait for say some 30 seconds and it will give you a timeout error. Why it is giving you timeout error? Because the service is not running. You need to make it on. How to make it on? Go to this kind of errors people would get it. So cannot connect to Kedar. Kedar is my system name, my SQL Server name. So how do you solve this? Go to start services. Let's see. Now you maximize the window. Choose your SQL Server. So come down SQL Server. This is my SQL Server. Double click on it and start. Okay. And make sure you're in automatic. Okay. And start. Click OK. Now close this window. Now you connect. Able to connect. Okay. This is the common issue. And make sure that this is also running fine. Now it is not, right? So right click, you start it. Otherwise, you go there and start it anywhere. Here you can start. You can stop also here. You can stop here. You can start here. There is no issue. Okay. So here also you can have the option, and there also you can have the option. Okay. So this is the